Welcome to the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival online in celebration of UN World Oceans Day, June 8, 2017, where we explore the life and times of the Caribbean Sea and hear stories from a few of the people working to ensure the sustainable health and wealth of the sea. Stay tuned for information, education, and inspirational stories brought to you by the Sustainable Caribbean Sea Initiative, curated by Dr. Claire Nelson. Life needs the Caribbean Sea.
Greetings and welcome to the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival. I hope you're seeing the sea behind me because right now I'm about to head off to Barbados, virtually of course, because actually I'm standing on a beach resort in the sunny island of Haiti. Now Barbados, as you know, has tourism as a big factor in its blue economy. And so we're excited to hear from SADE Dean, who's the National Youth Coordinator for the Barbados chapter of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network. So stay tuned for a fabulous conversation with SADE Dean. Greetings and welcome to another segment of our Caribbean Sea Fan Festival 2017, where we explore the life and times of the Caribbean Sea. In this segment, we'll be visiting with SADE Dean, who is the National Coordinator of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network in Barbados. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Greetings, SADE, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me, Dr. Nelson. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So what are the big plans for World Ocean Day 2017? Anything planned?
Well, here in Barbados, we are going to be basically launching the Barbados International Coastal Cleanup Program, and we're going with the theme and how we can gain support from the rest of Barbados. That is in terms of private, public sector, and also looking at how volunteers, which is the wider population, can be involved.
Yeah, so I think I missed the first name. So what's the program you'll be launching?
It's called the Barbados International Coastal Cleanup.
Oh, I thought you would normally do that in September.
Well, we're launching this on Ocean's Day, but really.
I understand. So we'll go straight into September.
Yes.
So the idea then, which is fantastic, because I always thought that, you know, we do this big coastal cleanup in September, and then we revert to the norm in, you know, the rest of the year. I was looking at this whole idea of the blue economy, and as you would know, Grenada has basically staked out claim as the first Caribbean territory to become basically driven by a blue growth strategy. With the current situation in Barbados around economy, have you heard more about the blue economy as a lens for Barbados to kind of design its growth strategy?
Well, the word blue economy basically goes hand in hand because we've also utilized green economy. So it kind of encompasses all of those sectors that fit right under the blue economy. The term itself hasn't been used so widely, but green economy has. But here in Barbados, there has been consultations, there have been a few talks about it. But with this year, we're hoping to bring more awareness to the term itself, considering that our event is going to look at marine debris, and we're going to be linking it to the blue economy, therefore highlighting different industries, persons they affect, and ways that it's actually impacting each of the industries as well as team members.
Well, if you could speak up a little bit, because you're going in and out, and I want to make sure that the audience gets every word you're saying, and I'm missing some words in and out. So Barbados is a hugely dependent on tourism. Yeah. You do have some offshore sea mining, and of course, there's a long-standing controversy around flying fish and who owns the fish with Tobago. And I understand more recently that you have actually signed an agreement with St. Lucia, because whereas for most countries they have a 200-mile nautical mile, you know, perimeter for the economic zone, there's only 100 nautical miles between yourself and St. Lucia. Now, as a young person working in this space, do you find that there are more and more, it seems to me with all of this activity, there should be more and more people getting into the career space to do with the marine or maritime environment. Do you find that this is the case? I know that the University of West Indies has a very world-renowned center based in Barbados. What is happening in terms of young people like yourself looking at the blue economy as, or the work in the maritime or marine economy as a place to work in the future?
Well, we do have a couple of members who have studied maritime, and they've been looking at ways to create financial gains with the economy itself. And so there are various innovative ways to be able to do so in order to be able to keep it sustainable. And so there are parts where we actually look at the the impact of the blue economy itself, and that would come from marine debris and whatnot. So from our side, we've been more looking at some of the economic gains, and we're also looking at some of the hindrance towards the blue economy in that sense.
Is Barbados doing any exploration around the issue of what they call it, coastal marine seafood farming, or around areas such as sea moss farming? Is this an area that Barbados is looking at? Because you do have a huge food culture. I've been seeing a lot of work or ads about tourism and gastronomy. So I'm wondering if you're tying an expansion then beyond this traditional fishing. Are you going to be do you see more talk about those things as ways to expand your offering for the tourism economy that would tie into the sea?
I think there would have been talks about actually expanding on the marine parks within Barbados, and that's one way to kind of
Yeah.
ensure the supply of food around, especially in the blue economy. However, there's some persons who are doing the more inland version of, developing seafood in that sense, and also plants and different crops and whatnot. But to that extent, I don't believe we have gone that far or have reached to that extent.
So let me ask you something then. As you think about you yourself, how long have you been national coordinator of CYN in Barbados?
I've been national coordinator from 2015. Prior to that, I always been a member of the organization. That was back in 2012. So I've been around for about 5 years in the Caribbean Youth Environment Network. And the first project I was actually handed to do was the International Coastal Cleanup. And so I've grown a passion for it. I've learned to understand a little bit more. And for me, it is about how am I going to make this very minor issue, well, not really minor issue, I should say. It's a very popular issue. And how can I bring it to terms with industries? How can I bring it to terms to people, most especially? Because, of course, not only is it there by other means, but the number one culprit is actually people. Is actually decided by people, even if it's intentional or unintentional. It actually starts with people. So that's where we like to make that connection.
But does Barbados have a I know many years ago Barbados used to have a very active recycling industry. Is that still the case?
Yes, we
So if that's the case, why is it you're still finding so much plastics in the waste stream?
Well, it's a matter of, well, we do have different types of users of the beach and the marine environment, of course. But if we have to zoom in specifically on the beach, which we've basically concentrated for quite some time, you would find users who use it for recreational purposes. We have people who go fishing. We have people who would normally hold events and those kind of things. So it's used for a variety of things. And
Mhm.
so we find a lot of recreational stuff. If we have to look at the top 10 things, we find things for picnicking, most importantly. And then if you go to some beaches, which there are fishing villages or whatnot, you're going to find that most of the fishing instruments and the different little ends and odds from fishing. That's what you would find at beaches. Now, recently, last year was the first time we've ever did an underwater cleanup. And
You actually don't know. So people dive.
yeah, so we had some free
Do
divers.
you dive?
No, unfortunately, I did not die. The only thing that I did was to basically to categorize the stuff that actually came. So I actually have an idea of what it is that they found, and we're very grateful for these divers because they looked at high density beaches within Barbados, and we were able to find a lot of bottles and plates and glasses. And these are the things we made the connection that it came from some of the recreational vessels that utilize the sea itself. So we were definitely able to point out who are, you know, more connected to who the users actually are. So it's very evident.
So I'm I mean, I don't know if there's any other group has ever done underwater cleanups in the Caribbean region. So this word needs to get out because I think it's definitely a shift in terms of moving the needle of thought. So I mean, Barbados kind of sits near to St. Lucia, and you kind of have the string of islands that I guess there are a lot of yachting and sport fishing. Is there along that coast?
Yeah, it's the same.
So basically the debris that's in the sea could be coming from those users as well.
Well, the ones that we find, I would say specifically for the south and the west coast, you would find a lot of the recreational use of beaches. However, if you go to the west, sorry, the east and the north, you're gonna find much bigger pieces of plastic that drifts from various areas of the world. Sometimes we have some with barnacles on them, so of course they've traveled quite a bit of distance before getting to Barbados itself. And we have
So how do you know they're from different parts of the world? Is the label in another language?
Well, we do have some who has labels from as far as China, some from El Salvador. We do have quite a bit of garbage coming
Well,
off.
this is very, 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 because people know about the big garbage patch in the Pacific Ocean, but there's not much research that has been done about, I guess, seabed waste in the Caribbean. And I think this might be something that CYE and Barbados should, expand around the region. Of course, that would mean that more of you have to dive.
That's
Also,
correct.
me, I confess I can barely do a breaststroke across a pool, and I'm not about to try to dive and I can't, dog paddle or tread water, whatever it is. But I mean, the theme of this year's event is Our Oceans Are Our Future. And I understand that really in the Caribbean, there's going to be a full court press on this issue of pollution and plastic pollution. Has Barbados as yet dealt with the issue now in terms of the root cause? Is there any policy around recycling, subsidies, fines? What is happening in that space to kind of support the work that you're doing
Well,
locally?
there have been some work on it. However, it has to be some more core evidence going towards help building the enforcement. I do believe in enforcement, and we're hoping, especially when we do this year's cleanup, because it would give a great comparison, considering that we did 50 beaches last year, to be able to do 50 this year. And once we're given that comparison, I think it would speak volumes, especially to policy. And so we'll try our very best to ensure that we engage the direct stakeholders who look at this issue, especially Environmental Protection Department, Coastal Zone Management Unit, and National Conservation Commission. These are some of the agencies who directly deal with beaches and those things. So we're hoping that once we have this set of information, because that's very important, because we don't want to go forward saying this is probably the best thing to do, and we're coming from a gut feeling, and so
Yes,
doesn't want to come on the basis of a gut feeling, but
yes.
more solid research.
As I heard you talk, what came up for me is, okay, so you're doing cleanup locally. We're trying to reduce the waste stream from land-based pollutions into the sea from Barbados, and let's say every island does the same thing. But then what about these bottles that are floating across the sea from China and other parts unknown? So I'm wondering if when you did the cleanup, or if you're going to do it again this year, would you take pictures of those particular bottles and close-ups and say, hey, I found this. We don't import it here, so I mean,
That'd be
I think, no, serious. I think, why not? You have to, as you say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I do think because it's so unusual. Most people are not doing there are other people doing it in other parts of the world, but in the Caribbean, there's not a lot of people doing on the bed, on the sea, underwater cleanup. And I think it's important because, if you have a tourism economy and people are looking glass bottom boats or whatever,
Yes.
so they want to be looking down on plastic bottles.
Yes.
Or glass bottles or tires or whatever.
You don't want that. You don't want that at all.
You don't find tires there, do you?
There was one year I felt, well, it wasn't myself, but it was one of the service groups here, and they found the stove, but they couldn't get it out of the water. I'm not sure who exactly would have made that venture, but yeah.
So let me ask you another question then. How is the private sector? Let's not separate. Let's separate the hotel tourism sector from the private sector that is, say, importing or selling products in these plastic bottles. Are they involved in any way in terms of supporting the work of CYEN and trying to be sponsors some of the groups that are into recycling? How are they plugged into this process?
Well, from the private sector, they have been supportive. There have been some who have been supportive year after year. And because of the magnitude of this research, now it's gone island-wide. Say before 2000, say only 2015, we've decided to expand it island-wide. And there's a grand need for some help. And so that's why this year, learning the lessons from 2016, we're really going to use Oceans Day as a way to speak to those persons, to let them know, well, this is a very huge undertaking, it's a very important undertaking. And I mean, we've been one of the most ambitious countries in trying to figure out this entire issue, from going
Yes.
with a couple to just an entire island. There are persons who are aiming to do that, but we've gone full blown doing it right now. And it requires a lot of support at this point in time.
Have you seen a growth in the number of young people joining up with CYEN in the last 2 to 3 years?
Most definitely. One of the things about redesigning the entire cleanup is to accommodate persons. And so before it was just focused on International Coastal Cleanup Day, but it's gone even a little further. We're not taking people out of their communities, but more so asking them to join us in their own communities. So we go to them. So for example, we would designate a particular weekend to a particular area of the country. So that being in North, we're going to go to the North and going to use both Saturday and Sunday. So in other words, you can just come to us. You could come to the beach that you're accustomed to, and that's the kind of model that we actually put into place, because without volunteers, without the people of Barbados, this is not possible at all.
Yeah, I know that most of the time for the coastal cleanups in Jamaica where ICS has been involved, it has mostly been outside volunteers going to communities, but I'm not so sure how many of the communities themselves are participating on that day. And so there's a sense of like, oh, it's those people coming to clean up, but they're not taking ownership of the problem. And so we do need to find new ways, if you will, in really rapidly making that shift. We know that the ocean is under severe threat. And unfortunately, as a people, as the Caribbean people, we have not really been brought up in a culture of respect for the sea, in terms of respecting the sea as a living space. We just have it out there and out of sight, out of mind. When you throw it away, it goes in the sea and it's taken to somewhere. and so we have a lot of work to do. Now, the Caribbean Examination Council is based in Barbados, and has CYEN been able to interface with them because they're setting curriculum standards? Have you been able to have any impact in beginning to help them to include in their social studies or environmental studies some more information about the sea and the importance of the sea to our economy and our life?
Well, we haven't gone that far in terms strategically. However, we still have response from students who actually have to complete community hours. And this particular event has lent hand in getting most of their community hours, considering a month-long event. And so students can move from beach to beach. They like to do more because they're now aware of the issue. if we can say that we've tracked and seen if there are any projects done, we don't know. But we're hoping that that might be a good way to get some new innovative ideas to kind of develop it, because not only this is a youth-led initiative, and if we can get more ideas to
Yeah.
make it better and to look at other areas to investigate, then we'll be happy for that. Every year we focus on something new to investigate, and if other youth are able to contribute, that'd be fantastic.
Well, I definitely think you, I mean, you have the benefit of it, of being actually in Barbados, where you have the Caribbean Development Bank, so they can certainly fund some workshops around developing new curriculum. You can be like a test case, and you know, CXC is right there. By the way, is that a cock crowing I hear in the background?
Yes, you're hearing a cock crow.
I was like, wait a minute. I wish I could have, like, just, you know, I wish I could get that sound and just open the segment with it.
Well,
I haven't heard a live cock crow in years. It is awesome. Are you on a farm?
No, well, where I am, there is free range chickens and there is some hawks. Sometimes we do see some monkeys, but I'm surrounded by lots of trees, fruit trees in my backyard, in the front. So yeah, the area is conducive for most animals to be part of. So yeah.
So you're not in Bridgetown then?
No, I'm actually located in Christchurch, more the southern side of the country itself.
Okay, okay. Now, we're coming to an end, but I wanted to come back to this issue. I got sidetracked, but it was such a nice song. That's why I had to.
I think he's singing for you right now, so you could.
The cock is saying, yes, I'm here and I need to live. So in terms of the education, because we know education and training is critical, and public awareness. Now, Barbados also has a significant cruise ship industry. What is the current relationship in terms of the cruise shipping impact on environment in Barbados? I know at one time there was a lot of controversy about the water pressure issues with cruise ship intake. Has that been resolved, or is that escalating, and does that need to also be a part of the conversation in terms of the whole environmental, you know, sustainability?
I think it would be more so a conversation to get an understanding, as some people may think that, you know, that particular sector is heavily watched and regulated, of course, and so it's not something that they can do willingly or, you know, do what they want. It's heavily regulated and monitored. But from the public perspective, I think the public has a different notion about it, and so that is one of the ways. I mean, with the coastal cleanup, there's a need for sensitization about the issue and all these different industries that kind of link to the blue economy. And once we get this particular word out, blue economy, people will start having a much more interest in it, because right now the green economy, the word itself is around being said, people understand it, but I'm not
Yes.
just tapped into it from a more ground level. I like to think about the people first in terms of when I make my talks and understand.
Yes.
They know it very, very well. So I'm
Yes.
hoping that to be able to link this one issue with one of the sectors, well, the blue economy itself, I'm hoping that it will bring about talks now and lead into the green economy, something that they do every day, but they're not really totally understanding. But that's our aim.
Yeah, well, that's a very you know, positive aim. Certainly, that aim fits into the goals of the UN SDG Goal 14 for the ocean, to have a sustainable economy for small island states. Are you optimistic that you will be able to grow enough people in your, let's say, alliance movement consciousness to make that paradigm shift?
I believe in it. I believe that there are numerous amount of ways that you can get this done. You have to think it through thoroughly. You have to spend time creating a brain that is for everybody. It doesn't matter who they are, everybody. And once you spend that time, helping people to understand, somebody has to be passionate about it.
Well, we certainly are. That's why this event is called the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival. Because when I looked at, I mean, I'm not an environmentalist by training at all. I am just passionate as a person who loves to eat fish. and was concerned that lobster. I was concerned that if we continue at the rate at which we're going, fish will become such a luxury that we can't afford it. So that's how I kind of got into this. And then the more I started reading, the more I realized, but wait a minute, we are really on the serious threat. If the Caribbean Sea dies, there go we. I don't think people realize that how fragile, that if the sea actually dies the way the Great Barrier Reef has died, parts of it are dying, we really would be in serious, serious, serious trouble. Yeah. So, you know, I am happy. I'm very excited about what the work at CYN is doing, and this segment and talking to all the young people that, you know, we have been talking to, it is really has been uplifting for me to hear, and feeling like now I have some more hope that maybe there is a way of moving forward. And on the note of hope, I'm thinking, since you're launching your campaign for Clean Up Day on Ocean Day, which is something I've always wanted to do, I'd really like to see how between now and June 8th, we can figure out a way for ICS to partner with you and to launch a competition of some kind. Because one of the things I have found that there's not a lot of material, a lot of video material, cultural material around the sea. And I'm a playwright, so I'm interested in writing and poetry and the arts. And so I'm hoping that, you know, we can talk when this conversation is over and see if in the next 2 days we can come with an idea. Yeah. And so along with launching the festival, and we're also launching a regional competition to whatever. So as we close up, I want you to help me end the segment by telling me why your life needs the Caribbean Sea. And you're going to start with, my life needs the Caribbean Sea because?
Well, my life needs the Caribbean Sea because we use it for our social services. It has been for years that tourism has been part of making our life as comfortable as possible. It being one of the leading sectors, we're hoping that with the blue economy, that it's been pristine, it's kept clean for us to be able to benefit in life. And of course, I love the idea of going to a very clean beach to still enjoy, to have something to do within my country. And not only within my country, but if I go to any Caribbean country, that is. And so we're hoping for a clean, and healthy ocean.
Thank you so much. The ocean is our future. The ocean is our wealth and our health. And so for all of us, life needs the Caribbean Sea. Thank you so much, SADE Dean, National Coordinator of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network based in Barbados. And because we are talking about the sea, I'm going to say smooth sailing on the calm and gentle Caribbean Sea.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this segment of the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival Online 2017. The festival is a virtual cruise around the Caribbean to hear stories about the life and times of the Caribbean Sea from people who love and care for the sea. The Caribbean Sea Fan Festival Online is a production of the Institute of Caribbean Studies in Washington, D.C. For more information, visit www.thecaribbeansea.org. Share this story and see more. Remember, life needs the Caribbean Sea.